All right, I'm going to go ahead and call it to order. Kelly's going to be here in a few minutes. So ask the clerk to do a roll call, please.
Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Here.
Councilmember Canez.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
All right.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
I'll invite everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I guess let's see if we'll take a motion for excusing Jalen. I know Kelly's on the way. I thought Jalen was coming, so we texted earlier. So if anyone wants to make a motion to excuse Jalen.
Oh, he's not coming?
I think he's coming, but
Oh.
I don't know for a fact. So
A motion?
Make a motion to excuse him.
Second?
it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Canez.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make a motion to approve, oh, there it is.
I just dismissed you, or excused you.
He turns around and walks
How do I note this? During this part?
Yeah, during this part. If
All
there's
right.
something you want to change. But first, we got to get a motion to approve it.
Okay. We did, didn't we?
No, not yet.
Motion to approve the agenda?
A second? Second. Okay, motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, under number 7, item C, the street is Red River, not Redwood.
Okay. Anybody with anything else? All right, so there's no other discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Miller.
Here. Yes, whatever.
Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Yes.
Councilmember Canez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Am I? Yeah, right.
And I will turn it over to you.
And where are we at?
First action request, city administrator search.
Came at the
Public
right time.
comment.
Huh?
Public
Public
comment.
comment.
Oh, sorry. Public comment.
Public comment now for items that's on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. If you would like to say anything, please come to the microphone.
Can we, after public comment, can we introduce the employees in case they want to leave, the 2 employees?
Which-
After public comment, would we be able to introduce the 2 new employees?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anyone for public comment, and this is for items that's on the agenda? Hearing none? Okay, so right now, I am going to introduce the 2 new employees that we're very excited to join Lathrup Village, Martha and Bob.
This is why we need to be introduced to you.
And I do this every single time, and they always are like, it's Rob. But if you would like to come up here to the microphone, just introduce yourself and just give us a fun fact. What your job is and a fun fact.
Hi, I'm Martha Bobstein. I'm utility billing and accounts payable. I obviously work in the water department. My fun fact, I'm a grandma of 3, and I'm going to be a grandma again, and that's my fun fact. That's my pride and joy are my grandchildren and my children. So.
As it should be.
Thank you.
Right. Welcome.
And you don't have to worry about staying yet.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
My name's Rob Harris.
Can we just go by Bob?
No, no Bob. Robert,
I'm
no
just
Bob.
kidding.
Bobby, maybe, no. Came from a similar position in Allen Park. I'm happy to be here. It's only a couple weeks. Had to deal with the great storm, and so it's been exciting. Fun fact, just very proud of all 3 of my kids. All 3 were athletes in college. My daughter's in medical school right now. So maybe not a fun fact, but a proud fact.
As it should be.
Yeah, but when you have 3 kids in college, it's the only fact I really.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome, Rob.
Have a good evening.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Next, we're going to go into the action request for consideration of approval. First one is the city administrator search. Do I have someone who would like to introduce it first?
I don't see Joyce here, so you all received the employment opportunity city administrator search document that they want to put out tomorrow. If it's approved tonight, they will start the search tomorrow, and it will be posted tomorrow. And it will go till, I think it's September 17th.
What do we
Nope,
do?
September 12th. It will go till, September 12th will be the closing date of that.
Okay. What was your question?
Well, there's some things that need to be changed, and, so you just send that to her, to Joyce?
We first need to take a motion first.
I think, yeah,
Was
my
discussion.
suggestion, we have a motion on the floor, and
Yeah.
then
That's
discussions,
right.
and if possible, if council could all agree on the revisions or changes, then submit those to Joyce.
Okay. So I need
Yeah.
a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the employment opportunity brochure for the city administrator search position.
I have a second.
Second?
It's been moved and second. Now we can have discussion.
Page 3 and page 4, says the city's next administrator shall be relatable person, but whatever. It's pretty much duplicated on page,
Four.
Page 4.
our packet page 4.
Yes. it's
In the
the same
first thing under ideal candidate, it's the same information. We also have a picture that has a Lathrup Farmers Market, which we haven't had for several years. In the heritage, under the first paragraph on the right, the ideal candidate shall also have supervisor experience supervising 7 employees. What's 7? What is that?
Yeah, I have that as well. Why, is there a particular reason why we had 7?
And then also the last sentence, the city administrator shall be available and accessible, not accessible, outside of a 40-hour week. I don't know.
It seemed like it was a weird statement to put in there.
It doesn't matter, I mean, just,
Yeah, there's about 7 of I mean, because the police chief would do his side, so those wouldn't be counted. We only have 21 employees here.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it just seems like it should just say the ideal candidate shall also have supervisory experience. It's supervising 7 employees. It seems
Sorry,
like
we got it's a deal breaker.
yeah, a weird thing to put in there.
You're making the corrections, right, Pam?
Yeah, I'm trying to find them all.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
so page 3, so which one do we want to leave? The one that's on page 3, the relatable, or the one that's on page 4, relatable? Which makes more sense?
Probably on 4.
Yeah.
So over here, take the city's next administrator, because it's repeating the same thing.
So you proposing taking that whole paragraph out, or just the?
Just the first sentence, I'm
Yeah, okay.
thinking.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And it has the same requirements and everything
See,
too,
it's up here again.
are
Okay.
duplicated,
Yeah.
but.
Leave that one. Take out supervising, and just leaving supervisory experience, period. And accessible should be accessible.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
That should be accessible. It's the wrong one.
Yes, I had put in some requests, I don't know, Pam, I'm assuming you sent my
I
request
sent all the requests to Joyce. Yes, I did.
Okay, okay. All right, well, she didn't put stuff in, so, okay. Page 5, these opportunities and challenges, where did this come from? Is this what was, is this copied from the previous ones? having a conversation about any of that.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings?
What are we voting on?
Yeah, what are we doing for the opportunities and challenges?
What are we voting on is to have this,
Ready to go.
executed. Yep.
Are we
So
good
roll
with
call.
that, with the opportunities and challenges?
Well, we're now into taking the actual vote. So what should we do at this point, since we're,
Well, again, I think that there needs to, or I would recommend a consensus on what the publication should say. So if there's differing
Exactly.
opinions, or a discussion that needs to be had about revisions, then I think we should have that conversation and incorporate those changes if that's the consensus of the council.
There's not much meat to it.
Well, what changes do you suggest?
My question is just, where do these opportunities and challenges come from?
Without Joyce here to answer it, I don't think anybody else would be
Well-
speculating, so.
Well, two people were here when Cheryl was hired.
I
Was
don't.
this something that was
I don't-
carried over, or?
I don't remember
I
from
don't
the last
remember.
brochure.
No, but, okay.
And I don't remember when Sue was hired on either, what they said.
But I mean, they all seem fairly accurate.
Well, yeah, kind of, but this doesn't say a whole lot about our city or why would someone want to come here?
Yeah,
This
it does,
is-
it's kind of a negative.
But, yeah, exactly,
It
like,
comes off as, oh, you're gonna have a problem if you come here.
Yeah, but it's a section for, I mean, it's titled Opportunities and Challenges, so.
I think, but like physical improvements to the appearance of the city requires public and private investment. How about aging, historic aging buildings may require, some partnering with private and private. I feel like everything I'm looking at is more of a negative than a positive. We should be saying we do have historic infrastructure, but which may require the ability to bring in private investment, or something like that. Outdated commercial buildings may not meet the needs of
yeah,
I don't know, it just sounds negative to me. Increasing costs of repair and replacement of infrastructure, again, aging infrastructure, looking for someone who can, up for a challenge, not,
yeah, I'm not happy with this whole thing. And I don't want to be repeating the same things that we did last time because we did not have a good result, so.
fill staffing vacancies. Are we assuming there will be vacancies? I don't,
Parks and Recs is a vacancy.
but we have no budget for it. Increase housing stock variety.
Yep, we're built out, I mean, like,
I was just saying, the fill staff vacancy was the one that stood out to me. That was, I mean, I would be fine with taking that out, but
And obviously you're gonna do it if you're gonna be
Right.
hired.
I think that's just a standard part of any leadership position, that there are gonna be vacancies in your department that'll need to be filled at some point, so.
So you want that one taken out?
I'd be fine with that. I don't know how others feel. It sounds like others feel like taking that out is okay.
I think this whole thing needs to be redone. I think it is not,
Again, because of the timing, I would encourage if there's specific rewrites to provide
well,
them.
sorry, what is the timing?
Well, you don't have an interim administrator right now. You're relying on your assistant administrator, who has put notice that she's retiring in December. So what's your plan to transition if a new manager has not been hired.
So we do a crappy job just to hurry it
No,
up
I didn't
and
say you
make
do
it
a
happen?
crappy
Well,
job. I
this
say-
this
I
is
say
not
that-
this is not quality.
Okay,
I
well then
don't-
what is quality?
It's not how things are done.
Well, I'm unaware that Joyce is a mind reader and that she can
It's
draw
not a
thoughts
mind
from it.
reader.
Well, then give her, what do you want to see? What should the list say? It's not that hard.
I know, we should have had a conversation
Well,
about it all.
let's do that right now.
Yeah.
Let's offer
No.
some
Oh
suggestions.
my gosh, the whole thing needs to be redone. It's not offering suggestions. The whole thing needs to be redone.
The whole thing, or are you referring to just that page?
No, pretty much the whole thing. I mean, there's some things that's basic information, that's fine, but what is in here that's going to draw someone to our community? Nothing.
If I might interject.
Sir,
Look
sorry,
at the- Yeah.
sir, you are out of order, sorry.
Comprehensive plan has all that in there.
Sir,
No other comments.
so if there's no other comments, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes, are we, well,
Just yes or no, sir.
yeah, let me just do yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes?
No, it needs some rewrites.
Councilmember Miller?
No.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next up is appoint the street administrator.
Yes, Sue was our last street administrator, and since she has resigned, I need to have a new city, street administrator appointed for our Act 51's information. Our Act 51, I have to do a report before the end of September, and so I would like to know if Susie Steck could be designated as our Act 51 so that she could sign the paperwork that I'm doing, because I'll have to sign it also. So I don't feel that I would be the person to be the street administrator at this time because of that.
You have to sign it twice.
I would have to sign it twice, so.
Who would like to make the motion to adopt the attached resolution to designate Susie Steck as the street administrator for the city of Lathrup Village?
Motion to adopt the attached resolution to designate Susie Steck as the street administrator for the city of Lathrup Village.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes?
Yes,
I'm sorry, what?
She didn't hear you.
yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes,
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Next, we will move on to discussion item, City of Lathrup Village 2023 Water Reliability Study with Mr. Ringler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do I have to speak into the mic or can I speak loud?
That would be a Jim question, but I think that, Jim, can you speak into the microphone?
Probably
Turn it towards you, that's all, just,
Well, I want you guys to see it.
no, I'm saying turn the
Oh,
microphone near you.
Yeah.
And you can move the stand off the mic, yeah, there you go. Yes, you need to speak in the microphone, I'm sure, I'm assuming that's what the yes was for.
Sorry, I brought a lot of slides with me tonight, and I'm gonna have to move so I can see. Good?
Yes.
Good. Of course, good evening, Mayor and Council. Scott Ringler with Giffords Webster. Coming before you tonight to go over the draft, this is a draft, of the update for the 5-year water reliability study. It is something that is required by EGLE to be submitted every 5 years. And it's also part of the Michigan Safe Drinking Water Act, so. Y'all got a copy of the report. It's very technical in nature. I really didn't want to go through it too much. I would rather spend time on the model itself. But just a few things. So the report itself in the submission generally includes a description of the system, estimates of the system demands, so peak flows, average flows, and fire flows. The results, and these are the results of the hydraulic modeling, and a 5-year and 20-year capital improvement plan. So, A little background, your existing system has about 32 to 33 miles of water main. 15 of them miles are still constructed before 1930. 18 miles were before 1958. Your typical water main has a lifespan of about 50 years, so you've definitely gotten your money out of it. So, on top of that, you got about 243 fire hydrants and a little over 300 gate valves. A little bit about the hydraulic model is very dynamic. So, you know, we have the entire city water distribution system as we know it put into a model. And then Southfield Fire Department went out and, excuse me, ran 20 fire hydrant tests throughout the city, various locations. And we took that data and put it into this model, okay? And then this model is what tells you the different fire flow potential of these areas, so. We ran 15 hydrants north of 11 Mile and 5 south of 11 Mile. Good news is we only had one bad test this year. Back in 2017, we had 4 or 5 hydrants that didn't work. So, and the only bad test is when they turn the hydrant on, it spit out a few rocks, and that could be from constructing a new hydrant there. So we ran a lot of scenarios. I'm going to go through them fairly quick. The one you have in front of you, this is from 2017. This was your original model back in 17. And then this is what the model showed after the Santa Barbara water main was installed. That water main was installed basically as a transmission main to get water from 11 Mile to 12 Mile on the far west side of the city, because there was nothing running north-south through here. It was all laterals. So some of these scenarios are gonna have a little A on it. The A just means we ran that scenario with the 12-mile meter pit opened. Right now it's closed. We had a meeting with Sarackwood today. The goal is to have that opened up in 2024. So hopefully this coming summer.
Well, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No. What good does it do running the scenarios and simulations when it's not even available?
We want to see what it's going to do. So we can run these scenarios assuming that this is open, based on old pressures that we had back when it was open. I think the last time it was open was 14 or 15,
yeah.
16. Again, remember, these scenarios, there's nothing set in stone. This is a report that's getting submitted. Things change, we know that. Schedules change, projects may change. So it is a capital improvement plan, so.
Why do
and
those,
yeah.
why do the scenarios change? You did some in March 20th, and they're very different than this one from August 3rd.
I'm sorry, probably just the dates didn't get changed. These were all run last week.
Right, but there were previous ones that were run on 3/20/23. Prior to.
I'm not sure which ones you have in front of you. We ran some a few months ago for a meeting with Southfield Fire Department, and that's probably the March ones. Yeah.
So why are they so different than the one in
I can
August?
honestly don't know. I haven't looked at them since March 24th.
Oh, okay. Because there's a lot more green and blue, which is good in March, but now in August, it's different.
I would really have to look at them. I couldn't answer you right now.
Okay.
Again, at the end of the day, remember, this is not a short-term fix. There's 15 miles of water main that are almost 100 years old. So, the last thing I want to say about these scenarios, when we model these, they're modeled with peak flow. So Sarackwood sends us data for the entire year, and they give us what day had the most peak flow. So we run this at your worst, if there was a fire happening at the worst day where most of the flow's occurring. So normally it's going to be a little better than this on your average flow. And then I just want to comment, since 2018, the city's installed 15,000 feet of water main, 107 fire hydrants. Most of them are new, but some are replaced. No, most of them are replaced, some are new. And 138 gate valves, so. Got a lot of work done in the last 5 years. So, I'm gonna try to walk through these. So again, this is the original model that was set up back in 2017 based on the fire flows that were originally provided. And again, this is with the Santa Barbara water main. This water main actually came up to Roseland, and we went across Roseland and went up Bloomfield. So that got modified a little bit during the design. And I apologize, I'm going to be flipping these in and out. Okay, we're calling this scenario 2022. And these are the projects that the city did in 2018, 19, 20, and 21. So I've tried to highlight all the projects. So this is the Santa Barbara water main, the Goldengate water main, the Santa Rosa water main, and the Wiltshire water main. So this is what's modeled after. As you can see, we're trying to get rid of the red and the magenta colors. So by putting this transmission main in, we increased a lot of the flow along that corridor. Goldengate really was successful in getting some better flow up in there. This wasn't as much. I was a little surprised. It went from basically magenta to red, so it's getting closer. But you can see some of these areas now. This is the one with the 12-mile meter pit open. We're starting to get better color in here. So trying to get more flow out of this 12-mile meter through this area.
But that won't be till next year?
2024, yeah. Now this is the 2023 scenario. These were 3 water mains that are generally done and one that's still going to be done. But this was tying a loop in from along Bloomfield from Sunset to La Crosse. This is the Glenwood water main. This one here is the San Diego water main. And then this is the tie-in of the 12-inch water main along Lincoln. That will be done this fall. So I didn't put an A here because there is no 12-mile open, but this is currently what it should look like. So getting rid of all this red and magenta. And this was kind of strategic when we worked with the infrastructure committee to start trying to do like every 3rd street. We did the Goldengate, then there's this one, 3 or 4 streets north, a tie-in here. So kind of had a little strategy about every 3 or 4 streets trying to get them water mains done. So this is what we're calling 2024. Some of this was based on the conversation with the Southfield Fire Department with their concerns on the dead ends. So this scenario puts new hydrants and new water main from Lathrup Boulevard to the city of Southfield on 4 of these street segments here. Again, it's getting red. Red's not bad. It's getting closer to 1,000 gallons per minute. It's typically what you want for a residential district. But the other thing it's doing is providing reliability. It's a brand new main. They don't necessarily have to worry about it not working. So again, when you see the 12-mile open, it's starting to get more yellow in here compared to this. And then this is the 2025 scenario. So this scenario, we're going to start trying to concentrate south of 11 Mile. Because it's a lot of red in here currently. So is what this is a tie-in from 11 Mile down to Lathrup Boulevard. There's no water main here. That's to try to get it to loop and get more flow that way. Ramsgate, we found over last summer that actually is a dead-end water main. We thought it ran to Lathrup Boulevard. It doesn't. It stops at the fire hydrant. So one of the projects is to loop that in. And then these 2 projects here actually are going to tie in the Lincoln water main with Santa Ana. there's no water mains here, so we're gonna try to provide additional loops there. And then the other water main is a new one on Rainbow Drive. This is actually an 8-inch water main that's had a lot of water main breaks. It's had at least 4, and I'm sure there's been more since we've been counting these.
Is that going with the 12-inch, or are you replacing with a 12-inch?
No, it'll probably be an 8-inch, because the rest of it's an 8-inch.
Okay.
It's just replacing an 8 with an 8.
Yeah.
Can you point that one out again? I missed that.
Yeah, that's this here.
Oh, that oval circle, okay.
Yeah. And then this is with the 12-mile open, is doing nothing down here. It's not getting any additional pressures or flows down there. This here is the 2026 scenario. This one is basically replacing the existing 8-inch along the south, or the east side of Southfield from 11 Mile to Lincoln. Actually, it's replacement to Rainbow Drive. Rainbow Drive to Lincoln is a brand new water main. There is none there. As you can see by doing this project, now we're getting way better colors in most of these areas. And you're replacing, I think that's a 1928 water main. Again, 12 Mile doesn't do any good down here. So, 2027. This was actually from the last capital improvement. This would be El Dorado from Southfield Road all the way up to Bloomfield. So this is back to that strategy of trying to, about every 3rd or 4th street, get some new water mains to start closing in that gap of that red. And then if you turn on the 12 Mile, it does pretty good through here. It's still struggling a little bit in these neighborhoods. But it helps. You can see it's definitely helping over here still. It's providing a little more blue down in here. So now we just have these smaller little gaps to deal with. Our last scenario, so this would be year 5 of the capital improvement. This one actually is going to concentrate on Southfield Road also on the east side from the North California all the way up to 12 Mile. That would be replacing an 8-inch with a 12-inch pipe. So again, you know, now we're getting real good color in here. And really good when we get the 12 Mile online. So that's where we're at after 5 years. Definitely got some areas still to try to concentrate in. This one, you know, we're going to keep looking at this. We think there should be better flow in there. There could be a closed valve that we're going to ask DPW to go double check all the valves. So something, it seems to me, is happening in here, because you got a decent 12-inch through here. You got your direct feed right here. So
Was that, I'm trying to remember, was that the cement line over there that you had the low C values, or was it further?
Cement line usually have higher C values.
No, I know, but you had talked in the report about there was an area, I can't remember off the top
Usually
of my head.
after, I forget which year, 1958 or 1970, it was mostly cement line pipe.
Right, but I think you were talking about one of the areas, I think, I'm just trying to remember, maybe it was on the south side of 11 Mile where the C values were lower than you expected for
Yes,
cement
it
line.
is south.
So that's
Yeah.
not that area right
No,
there.
it's down
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
So remember in 2017, our report said something looks weird south of 11 Mile, like there's a closed valve. And then we come to find out that this crossing here was closed.
Right.
So there still could be closed valves. I mean, some of these valves are really old and they don't get worked, and sometimes they get turned and they don't get turned back on. So that's the scenarios we came up here with. This is quote unquote the capital improvement plan. So I kind of try to keep all the old projects on here. These are all the old projects that are already generally done. There's a couple here still need to be finished. And then this is the 5-year plan. So it lists all the streets that are on the scenarios, lineal footage, typical costs, and estimated costs. So that would be your 5-year capital improvement program. And then I try to keep track of the stats here. Some of these show like how many service leads are on mains. There should be a number of breaks that have occurred, the age of the pipe, the different reasons, justification why it should be replaced.
Thank you.
The last slide is, this is what your system will look like. So red's really good. Red means it's been replaced. So, you know, all these red, you know, that's everything that's been replaced. I think I started keeping these in 2004 or 2010 when we did some of these Rackham and Sunnybrook. The lighter blue is your 5-year capital program. So it would be, you know, everything that's in light blue. Then you have it actually goes up to 20 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 20 years, so we put a budget holder in your capital improvement program. So, you know, some of these are left over from the last capital improvement or the reliability study. I left them on here. You know, a lot of this was if city center ever gets developed, it would be installing new water main around there. So, that's about all I got. Sure, you might have questions.
I do. You talked about the 4 mains that are gonna be replaced on the east side of Southfield. Tapping into Southfield?
No.
Not tapping
No.
into it?
They would be dead-end water
Dead-ending it.
mains.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And even with the new ones, do we expect it to, because with the dead end, the streets that are in the dead end water mains, they're not gonna have as high a flow anyway, so as the streets more in the middle of the city, correct? Or will they?
Say that once more.
So the streets that have the dead end water
Uh-huh.
mains?
Yep,
Up
these.
there,
Yeah, so
yes.
that- so do they typically, I mean, do we expect them to have a slightly lower flow than, say, one in the middle of the city where it's gonna have
Yeah,
redundancy?
yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah, you don't have water coming both
Right,
sides. It's
right.
coming one way.
right.
So we can never expect that little section to be blue or green?
Yeah,
It'll
you
always
know,
be red or-
ultimately, I think we could get there.
Okay.
You know, it might take other projects. Ultimately, maybe Lathrup Village gets reconstructed,
I mean, like
the water main.
The boulevard, you mean?
What'd I say, Lathrup
Village.
Village? Yeah, the boulevard, I'm sorry. You know, to try to get this flow down here. Yeah. So, you know, let me just try to pull one up here. Just maybe to put some angst, you know. Just because maybe you live in a house that's in this purple doesn't mean you're not gonna get a fire put out. It's just got a little lower flow at that area. Your fire department is gonna pull up and they're probably gonna grab a hydrant on Santa Barbara. They know there's good flow. And, you know, they drag that fire hydrant. They might grab one along the Southfield corridor and pull it in. So just because, you know, your house might reside in an area that has less than 1,000 gallons per minute does not mean you're not gonna get a fire put out. And I will say, fire department comes with a pumper truck, and I forget,
Tanker.
they got a tanker, I don't know how
Yes,
many
they do.
gallons it is, but they can pull a tanker from, I think it's from Franklin.
From Franklin, that's what they said.
So,
I have some questions. Yes, I'd like to get to the bottom line here. All the scenarios, none of it has been budgeted for past this year, right? We have no committed funding to it, a small amount.
I'd probably let Pam answer most of that, but I do know that, you know, we have the Talib grant out there.
Yeah, but that's
which-
not guaranteed.
I know it's not, but it'd be great if you got it. It was about $3 million of work.
Yeah, it would be great.
I'm gonna have to probably ask Pam to talk about the budget, right?
Well, every year you're gonna budget something for water mains, and we have been budgeting for water mains. Even,
Yeah, but
we
some
were-
of that work was not done, because.
Can I finish, please?
Sure.
We had water mains, and we also had water mains, we had a water main budget item, and then we had water mains from the capital improvement. The water main budget item, we did not use that money yet, so it rolled back into the fund balance. And we have done that for the last 3 years. We did budget for that to be done, but it was never done because they were using the capital improvement money.
Right, so we had about 1.2 million, if I remember correctly.
So that money got rolled back, and
Right, but
then
San
every
Diego
year,
was-
you're gonna try to budget for a water main project.
Right. But San Diego was supposed to be done back in 2019, 20, I believe, and that's just being done this year. So I'm not sure that was in the regular, that 120,000 or however much is budgeted for water main work every year. That was in there and that was not done, so.
They might have done a different water main at that time because they do pick the water mains that are the worst. It might have been supposed to be done at that time, but sometimes they'll go by which ones have water main breaks, more water main breaks. They might choose a different water main at that time. The capital improvement plan that we have is a wish list of things that we want done or we, equipment we need, anything like that. So when you're budgeting, you don't know for sure which actual water mains are gonna be done unless you look at the capital improvement, but you might have to move some of them around to a different year.
Right, but it was for several years. I guess, again, bottom line, page 13 of our packet. The recommended fire flow in single-family residential areas is 1,000 GPM, and the system is not capable of delivering this fire flow to approximately 45% of the city. That is a big deal. We've spent a lot of money already. The infrastructure committee chose to put money on roads and not on water mains. I tried to redirect $120,000 that's going to be spent on water meter technology towards water mains, and that was voted down. But this is a serious issue, and you have these nice colored charts and everything, but in 2019, you came to the infrastructure committee and you said that we needed to replace 15,570 lineal feet of water mains ASAP. We haven't done that. We've only done maybe half because some additional projects were added on this year. So I don't know. I learned of this when I was on Planning Commission in 2016, and it's I don't see much improvement here. We still have a large portion of 45% of the city that isn't going to be served. This isn't acceptable. I don't know. And then when at the March 20th meeting, when I tried to redirect funding, because I know we don't have enough pressure to put out fires, Mr. Cantor refuted everything that I said and said we don't have issues with a water pressure, water flow, that we can put out fires.
You just said we can put out fires.
Yeah, you can put out fires. You have a static water pressure of about 50 PSI.
Right.
So now when you start turning on hydrants, that's static, we take readings of static and what we call residual. So that's the pressure after that hydrant's turned on, and they all vary. Down here, your residual is down to like 15 PSI. Up near Santa Barbara, it's still in the high 30s and 40s. I don't remember all these numbers. They're in that chart that I put together. But Councilwoman, you're not going to get this thing read until you replace a lot of water mains, and you got 15 miles of water mains. That's $20 to $25 million.
Well, I know, but you recommended $4 million back in 2019 before the infrastructure committee started, and that was not addressed. And I think that residents would have thought this was a priority, and that was never an option, and it wasn't presented. Even when we had our town hall and the fire chief came, he was told to not speak about water flow and water pressure, not having enough of it. He was supposed to just focus on access, and that isn't the real issue. The real issue is we don't have enough water pressure to adequately service our community.
I can't answer that unless you want to do 15 miles of water main.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess it's
As I
just,
explained, because you live here doesn't mean they're not putting out a fire.
well, I get it. There was a house right up on the next block from me that burned down because there wasn't. I spoke with the fire chief in the spring. They're pulling up rocks, dirt. They're not getting water to come out of the things. That was why he was coming to have access to the Southfield system. So, we're seems to be trying to brush this under the rug, and it's a big deal. And we don't have anything in our,
How are we brushing them under the rug? We
Budget
just spent $5.3 million over 3 years.
not on water mains.
On water mains,
Not
gate
on water
valves, fire
mains.
hydrants, those are all part of the problem.
The main problem is the water mains, so, and again, I don't see, yeah, we did this since 2018, but when you came in 2019, you said there were still 15,570 lineal feet that needed to be replaced as soon as possible. That wasn't dealt with. I have, you know, all of the paperwork and documents and whatever going back. It was not addressed. It's not like it's a big, it's a priority issue, and I think that the community would feel otherwise.
Yet you voted no to add San Diego and Lincoln to the water main project this year.
I don't really know what I did, Bruce.
We can go to the minutes. You
Well,
voted
we can
no
go to the
against
minutes,
that.
but we can also go to some of the things where you said that we don't have a problem with water pressure. If people
Again.
would like to watch the April 3rd meeting, they can do that, where you directed the infrastructure committee to focus only on roads, 1 month after the infrastructure committee was in existence.
Again, you're the only person who seemed to have heard that. Because
Well, I
none of
don't
the
know if I
committee
heard it.
members remember that. You were on the committee, you don't
I have your
remember that.
emails.
Great. I gave them to you. I'm glad you have them.
Well,
Yeah, again, you voted no on adding the San Diego water main and the Lincoln water main to the 2023 summer project. So it's a little bit, and
no,
again.
don't even. I've been talking about this.
Don't even. You
for
voted
years.
no.
I have been talking about this for years. I also tried to spend take that $140,000 and put it to one of the water mains over east of Southfield Road, because there are several in there that would have covered. So, again, there wasn't a discussion. It was, this was not openly discussed at the town hall. We were supposed to have a second town hall a month later. It was never discussed. All of a sudden, we have some projects added, and there's just a lack of transparency, a lack of transparency, and a lack of being upfront about what the real situation is.
Well, I think his presentation covers the upfront on what the situation is.
Well, yeah, but why hasn't it been addressed? I mean, we've been working with the same group for quite some time, and I don't see things getting better.
In the last 5 years, he said
You
you
know
did
what, you're not-
1,500 linear feet.
Are-
That's what I just heard.
Oh, okay, are you a member of council? I mean, I know you can advise us on the legal issues, but I'm not sure if you're supposed to be part of our conversations. I mean, maybe you are.
Okay, that,
Maybe
Common
you're,
sense is
no,
some often
excuse me,
considered a
excuse
legal
me.
issue.
So
There's
that's out of
apparently
order.
a lack of that on this side of the table.
It's out of order for that.
Okay.
Do you have a question for Scott Ringler? Any additional questions?
I mean, it's questions for this whole process. Are you not concerned? Oh, no, you're right, on the new water main line.
I had nothing to do with the fact that I live on Santa Barbara. Are you trying to say that because I live off of Santa Barbara that
I was going to say, aren't you concerned about the issue?
Of course I'm concerned, but I also trust the engineer and what he's saying. I mean, I don't have an engineering degree, nor do I pretend to be an engineer, so I trust what you're saying.
Okay, but what about this 45% of the city not being?
But he
So,
just,
so it was, I'm sorry.
Bruce,
no, go ahead.
The issue was ignored for
It
50
wasn't-
years.
Okay, no, okay.
Then how do we, okay, so if it wasn't ignored, can you please explain to us how we have a water system with water mains that are over 100 years old, that are designed to be 50 years old? So that's a 50-year difference. So how do we still have 100-year-old water mains
It
if
wasn't
it
a
hasn't been ignored?
priority, and when I asked about the
It's been-
first road millage, you said the water system was fine. So, you know, I think we need to have residents that are involved in these conversations, residents that are helping make decisions, other people that are looking at things. I don't know, maybe if no one else sees this as an issue.
We all see it
Maybe
as an
we
issue.
see it as an issue, but I think collectively, you're the only person who has not had an event. When are you gonna host the town hall or something?
Oh, yeah, because I'm gonna have a little fun event or a
You
luncheon
can
for
ask them
seniors.
questions. You
when our
can
half-
talk about
half of our city-
my senior thing
when
whenever
half of
you
our
want.
city
But what
can't-
I am saying is that
Well, I'm
you
concerned.
need to try and have
Okay.
and ask the residents some questions. You keep
Okay,
saying that
okay.
you're
I'm
Bring
more
it down.
you're
Let's
worried
bring it
about
down.
the
Hey,
residents.
hey,
but you're not
hey,
asking
hey,
them
hey,
questions.
hey.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous.
How do you know I'm not asking?
I haven't heard you.
Hey,
Okay.
is there something else that
Most
you would,
dysfunctional thing I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because of me, okay.
does anybody else have a question for Scott Ringler? We're not doing comments just yet, sir. You'll have a moment. Hearing none? We're gonna, maybe we should just have a study session about the water main.
That's what I thought tonight was.
What's the
Yes.
information going to be? He just gave us everything.
I'm trying to help you actually, Karen.
You're not
I'm-
helping
I'm-
me with anything. I've been studying this for years, Kelly.
I'm not your enemy at this point. I'm trying to get it where resolved so no one else will have an outburst. I'm really just trying to figure out how we can get your answers. That's all I'm trying to do. But if you don't want my assistance, no problem.
Okay, that's gonna solve the problem that we have. Okay.
I can't, there's nothing that someone can do at this point right now in this meeting to resolve a problem. We can talk it through and have a study session, or we can continue talking about how it can be resolved, but right now it's not gonna get resolved. And I'm just asking, do you think if we had some type of study session or a meeting just around the water mains, would that help? I'm trying to figure out a way that we can all discuss this.
No, we need more money. We need to fix the things. Having a study session.
So there's no
isn't
more
gonna do
money
anything.
coming, so now what do we do? So hearing none, we're going on to the Goldengate Park.
On the Goldengate Park, Councilmember Miller asked me to put this on the agenda, so I will let her take it from there.
Okay, at the last meeting, we learned that there are two parcels of land that are the back of Goldengate Park, and they're on the market to be sold. I drove over there and tried, to check it out. And I reached out to the realtor that has the listings. They don't have any offers on the property. They would take an offer that would be for both pieces of property. I just think that we have a responsibility to at least try and have a conversation about whether we want to, save this green space and keep our Goldengate Park intact and keep it whole. So I just wanted it to be brought to the table so that we can talk about it.
So are you suggesting we buy it?
I think that we probably should consider buying it.
Which is a good idea, but how are you proposing that we're gonna pay for it?
Well, I'm not sure what funds we have available, or, right now, they're listed for $39,000. I think they paid about $2,000 from the Michigan Department of Transportation. So I'm not sure what they would accept or what it would look like. I'm not trying to, be involved in a sale or anything like that. I'm just sharing my expertise as a realtor, and, I think that we should consider it. It's a small portion. I think it's about half acre total, but it would make a difference if all of that's cleared out, in our park area.
Can somebody point it out on the map? Which section is up for sale?
It's back,
So I'm assuming this, which is the park? Right here?
So there's this highlight, this was from, actually, I think you left already, Scott Ringler left. This depicts the two of the parcels. They're on the east end of the park where the pathway goes through. Originally, the original purchaser paid $50,000 to purchase them from the state of Michigan, and subsequently the corporation that is currently selling them paid $90,000. And those, the original transfer was in 2006, subsequent one was in 2000, I'm sorry.
What was the 2,000 back taxes that was paid, were paid?
Typically every year, they're about 3 or 2 years behind,
Behind.
so they redeem it.
So, I don't know, anyone want to discuss it? Is it a good idea? Can we try and find a way to do it? Is it something that residents would be interested in? I know several people said that, you know, would like to keep the green space. Is it something that we can do? Like I said, it's not too late, it's not gone. We had heard that it was sold, but it isn't, so I think that we have a responsibility to at least look into it.
Like I said, I think it's a good idea, just where are we gonna get the money? I mean, we just had a discussion on water mains and that being a priority, but then we're gonna take 79,000 for a park, so, I mean, again, it's a matter of priorities and where we're gonna find the money in the budget to come up with 79,000 or 70,000, whatever it is, to, what was it, 29 each, 39 each?
39 each, but
So it's
do a
70,000 if they give us a discount, for two for one.
package deal.
Maybe we can see if we can do one of those fundraisers that we're doing, like for the park.
Did you say at the last meeting, Scott, did you, or I thought somebody said they reached out to them, or maybe Pam, it was you, to see if they were interested in donating it for the tax credit? Somebody?
I think I had suggested that to Mr. Diamond when he had initially brought this to my attention, but I don't think that was ever conveyed. I would just caution council that before you get further down into this discussion about offers, prices, specifics, that's all something that is permissible and recommended that be conducted in a closed session, so.
Well, I'm just
I'm just
listing
saying.
what the listed price is right now on the MLS, so.
I know, I'm just throwing
Yeah,
that out.
yeah, for that.
Any further discussion?
So you're suggesting we
I think
go in
if
close?
council wants to have a more detailed conversation about that, then my recommendation would be go into a closed session to discuss the specifics in terms of a strategy, negotiation strategy for purchasing that property. I think you can speak about it in generalities.
Well, right, but I
obviously,
mean,
but
yeah. Is anyone, Bruce thinks it's a good idea. Anyone else think that's something we should pursue further?
I think it's gonna make a big dent in the park if we sell a piece of property right in the middle of our path. Cuts right into the path here.
well, remember, it's already gone. It's been gone for almost
So
20
then
years.
Yeah, but our
Our
path
path
is
is
there,
actually
it's
on
all
their
their
property.
own. It's like,
The
there's
path was
not.
actually put on their property.
But did we know that back when we put the path in, that it was somebody else's property?
I swear this came up for a maintenance issue
Yeah.
several years ago. I mean,
Something
probably
happened.
10 years ago at least. And, but nothing was ever done with it. And I was under the impression that the council under Mayor Brock had attempted to purchase or may have attempted to negotiate a purchase, but I don't have anything specific to
Yeah,
support
well,
that.
does it make sense as a first step to maybe have Pam reach out and see if there is any willingness on them to go the donation route?
That would be for you.
I mean, at least we could start that way.
I think I think hearing the general consensus from council that it would be advantageous to acquire the property, that if direct the acting interim, acting administrator, whatever your title is today, to reach out and see if there's a possibility or what that might be, so.
That's
We
what you
had
want to do.
Anybody disagree? Let's do it then.
We should save all the green space we have.
Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, Redwood Avenue, Sarackwood Park.
I did bring papers on that. I've been trying to find a solution. Oh, you're here, good. I'll give you one of these. Can you pass these down? I've been trying to find a solution to this water issue that's been brought to my attention by residents that live around there as well. And I think we did talk about it at one time, Scott. How many more do you need?
Probably one for Scott and Kelda. One more.
So the property sits at the very end, right where Sarackwood meets Redwood, which the park,
Red
oh,
River.
Redwood crosses into Red River crosses by Rackham and Saratoga. So see this section right here? It's constantly underwater. And we did have this discussion, and you said there's, no way for that water to drain. So it sits, even on the hottest day, there's still gonna be a big, huge puddle of water there. And I have pictures from the winter. It's a big, huge piece of ice. So we've never really come together to put a solution together. We have had conversations. I've talked to Pam, I've talked to everybody pretty much about it. And finally, I was walking by the other day and I thought, what if we just extend that into green space and just let grass or whatever we plant there absorb the water in that road? And all it does is take that little section right up to Red River.
Well, I did talk to Pam last week about that. I think if you want to get rid of the water, we can try to grade that so it moves into the park where there's a little bit of a ditch system. I'd be really concerned about putting grass there. I mean, we can't keep residents off the side of the road. They're gonna drive right through that unless you bollard it up, delineate it,
Grass
curb
can
it.
take a little bit of beating. I mean, if somebody was driving over it.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, Yeah, plant trees.
We struggle with keeping cars off.
I think the residents would rather see something absorbing that water than having to look at water and ice year
Well,
round.
I'll be happy I'll shoot some grade and see if we can move that water into the park where there's a little bit of a ditch system.
There is?
Yeah, a little bit. But, a lot of that's overburdened, so, where that gravel meets the grass, over the years it gets graded, it gets built up. So there's a little bit of a lip there at the edge of the grass where it meets the gravel. And if we can fill some of that ponding in with gravel, so
what
it
we've
flows a
done
little
before.
better towards the ditch, and try to keep that water out of there.
And
I'd be concerned about putting grass in there. It will get driven over.
And I talked to David about it in our DPS, or DPW, and he has put gravel in there, and they have hand dug to try to do the ditching there. They don't have, I don't know if just them hand digging it or if they're gonna need equipment for it, like a backhoe, which we do not have, so,
They'll need a little equipment,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Buster
to
might
make
be
it,
able to go grade it out a little.
but they did do it manually when I talked to him, when it first came up to me.
Did it solve it?
No, well, because it keeps getting built, but when cars are driving over it, it keeps going lower again. So it's not, they gotta put gravel in there, but then they gotta do a ditching system, or a drainage system by ditching it to make it slope down, so it goes to the park.
Would paving it back, 20, 25 yards on both ends, towards the east, would that alleviate the problem since it's where it's coming together, or would that just push the problem further down the
Yeah, if it's
road?
graded and paved properly for positive slope, but both them streets usually have a crown section, so you got two crowns coming
Right.
right in the
Right.
middle there, that's where the water is.
Right, pools are right
Yeah,
there. But it never goes away.
Yeah.
And here it is in the winter. It's just always really bad. So, I think we owe them at least to try to come up with a solution for something like that.
Is it something we could get an estimate for?
Well, I think it sounds like something DPW
DPW,
can
okay.
do. I'll be happy to donate a little bit of time to shoot some grades and make sure it'll at least work. And it's only gonna take a half hour. It's not a big deal.
So Pam, you're gonna have DPW go back out there? Well, you said some,
Let me shoot some topo
okay.
first, and I'll work with Pam and DPW, see if we can come up with a plan.
okay, thank you.
So you know that corner.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anything else on this? Next, interim administrator increase. Who would like to introduce that? Scott, maybe? City attorney?
I don't know anything about it, so.
I don't know anything about it either. I can't.
Normally, when we have an interim city administrator, they do get an increase because their duties increase. The last time each administrator got $2,000
For
a piece for,
$4,000 a month.
no, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was $2,000
per
a week, thank you.
Per pay
Or
period.
pay period, $4,000 a month. And that's how it's been in the past when it comes to the administrator, the interim administrator. And so that's where we're at right now to figure out what to give to Pam as the interim.
Well, I think we should do something commensurate with what we've done in the past.
Is there a proposal? Is there?
Yeah, what was proposed?
That's what we're kind of talking about right
Talking about
now.
right now.
That's what I'm asking you.
No,
If
did
the-
Pam have a proposal?
I proposed, what, $5,000? Is that what we were saying? $5,000?
Well, last time it was 4,000 a month.
I'm saying
Oh, I-
5,000 a
$5,000 a
month.
month, okay.
How much are we offering our city administrator that we're hiring?
It's depending on qualifications. The last one was making 115,000.
Are you close to a salary of an administrator? I don't know.
No, I am not. I'm under 100,000.
You said 5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we do before?
$4,000 a piece
Per month.
per month.
So they're paid, you're only paid once a month?
Twice a month?
So you're saying 2,000 a pay period?
No, that would be $2,500 a pay period.
If it's 4,000 a month?
For her, I'm asking
That's-
for
it
She's saying
was-
5,000
$2,500.
a month.
Oh.
Last time it was 4,000 per month for the three of us each.
And do we have money in the budget to do this?
I'm not paying a city administrator right now.
So yes.
And I've been doing the city administrator plus working on an audit plus the treasury duty.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I don't have an issue. I think Pam does great work. So.
Do we have to we don't have to make a,
I think it's appropriate to make a motion to formally appoint her as the interim. That officially hasn't been done yet. I think she's just the acting city administrator under her title as the deputy. And then, yeah, I would have a motion to,
Can we do that if it's not on the?
so if it's a special meeting, we can just add,
well, I think it needs to, I mean, it could be part of the motion to dealing with the interim administrator increase designation.
but I'm
and
saying we can
increase.
still do it now because it's a special meeting. So that can be, somebody can make a motion to make her the interim city manager and give her an increase of $2,500 per pay period.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do them together, or we can do them separately?
I mean, I see, if you're going to give the increase for the position, it makes sense to do them together, unless there's discussion to be had about them separately, but I don't see a reason why you couldn't do them together.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint Pam Barachi as the interim city administrator with an accompanying $2,500 per pay period increase.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none.
Wait, there is some discussion. Is the plan then is to bring in a treasurer to be trained during the next several few months, whatever, at, did you say 115,000? Is that what you said?
What?
What did you say? I didn't hear what the conversation about,
No, she was asking about the city manager was paid 115,000.
oh, okay. What's the people that,
There was an amount out there for the treasurer's position, but that was pulled.
Okay.
There is not an amount out there right now, but it was out there for more than I was making at the time, so it was pulled, and it has to be renegotiated then. And it's going to be depending on qualifications.
And are you interviewing right now?
I haven't started because my audit starts Monday.
Oh, okay.
So I have been working, I worked Saturday for probably 9 or 10 hours, and I worked Sunday for about 10 hours. So I am in the middle of the audit, getting ready for that. So I do have 4 applicants that I think are qualified for the position. A couple of them are pretty good. So I would like to start calling them next week when the auditors are in, because when the auditors come, I'm at their beck and call, but I do have time in between when they're in my office and not.
Okay.
So I try not to take on big projects during that time so that they can, when they come to my office, I can answer all their questions and get them what they need right away.
Okay.
But they will be here this year for almost 2 weeks now, because we have another GASB law or another GASB accounting standard that just came into play, and that's going to be another big project. So.
Okay, and did we budget for that extra position?
So we did not budget for it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Miller,
No.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Canes,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Next, Council Member Miller's disbursement report questions.
Yes, last meeting, Councilmember Miller asked for what Cliff's parties are that he works. I provided the May and June parties that he has worked and the hours that he has spent with those parties. He does all setups, takedowns, for any of the parties, so I did supply that for you, so you can see that, like he sets it up, and anything for the city he has not charged us for, but like graduation parties in the park, he was 4 hours there, birthday party, baby showers, Lions Club, anything that is outside of anything from the city, that's what he's being paid for. And so I know Councilmember Miller did ask when we said that it was parties and that she wanted to a more breakdown of the parties, so that's what I gave her, the graduation parties, the birthday parties, baby showers and things like that.
Thank you. What does the red indicate?
Those are ones that he's probably not, I would have to ask, but like the women's club, he probably didn't charge for something there to us. He didn't, the council meetings, when he sets up the chairs in here and that, he never charges the city for that.
Oh, okay.
When he probably, I don't know when he set up tables for the women's club, if he charged them for that. But I know he does not charge for some of the stuff that we do, like anytime he's up here with the council members, meeting place, things like that for the city, functions, for bingo. On Friday nights, he doesn't charge for the setup for the bingos for us. He does a lot here, and a lot of things he does not charge us for. But the parties, when Saturday he was here, when I was here for 12 hours. He went from 12 o'clock until probably 1 or 2 in the morning. And then he had to be back here at 10 o'clock in the morning to break down the community room, clean it up, and then work a picnic or something that was in the park that day. So,
And then do the people that are renting the space pay for that time?
yes, they do.
So it
And they pay-
totally covers it?
Yep, they
Okay.
pay for his time, and they pay for a setup fee and a takedown fee too.
Okay. And is this something that he puts together?
Uh,
This?
He gives his hours to Jacqueline, and because Jacqueline does the community room and that, and so she knows how many hours the people have rented, so she puts this spreadsheet together.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
And then the other thing is you wanted the credit card, Giffords and Webster, you had asked about 2 of their invoices. The one was a meeting with the DPW and the Southfield Fire Department, mapping and scheduling for fire flow testing, and that was the $542.50 that you had asked for about.
Why does it say 2022 Lathrop Village Water Reliability Study Update, but it's June 5th, 2023?
Yeah, we actually started that, remember last fall in 2022, when Southfield came out.
Oh, yeah, it came in December, yeah, okay, okay,
So,
okay, thank you.
And then you asked about the invoice for the $6,414, and that was for the Southfield Road Hawk Signal Crossing, and that was for their professional services that came out of the DDA for the design development, the construction administration, the construction layout, material testing.
And that's $6,414 of a total of $46,000 that's gonna be spent on that? The contract amount is $46,000. So we've only paid a small portion, but this is something,
Correct.
this is something we're committed to pay?
Well, they're working on getting it to, and it just depends on, I mean, they've got a price in there, but it's gonna depend on if they have to do any more work or what they have to do with it, so. And the only thing they did was the design development, and that's only 38% done.
Okay.
Could you identify where this hawk signal was going for everybody who's listening?
I hope I remember.
Is it Margate?
It is between Lincoln and 11 Mile. Boy, I can't see that good, Bruce.
Margate.
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 Where's Margate? It's along Southfield corridor.
Ramsgate,
Yeah,
Redwood,
yeah, somewhere right in
Meadowwood.
there.
Oh, way down by
It's-
the other?
No, it's
Isn't there
between
traffic
Margate
somewhere?
and the street to the north, Meadowbrook.
Meadowwood.
Meadowwood. It's somewhere in
So it's going in
there.
the middle of the street, right between these two?
Yeah,
And,
it's a mid-block crossing,
and then there's a signal right here?
yes.
So could we say, how do you anticipate that's gonna be used?
It is actually a pedestrian, we call it a hawk, but it's really gonna be a pedestrian signal.
Which means?
So there'll be an actuator, so if there's pedestrians looking to cross Southfield, they'll hit the actuator, and then there'll be signals there to turn the traffic red. So it'll be stopped traffic,
On Southfield Road?
yes. And there'll be a median, there'll be a small little median for people to get into, and then across to the other side.
So when you're on Southfield Road, are you gonna have to veer around it, or you can still go straight through? I don't understand
The
how
median will be in the center left turn lane.
Oh, wow.
Center left turn lane, there'll be a median.
Mm-hmm.
So we're losing the turn lane?
It's 20 feet, 30 feet. And that's why you kind of put it at mid-blocks, because you don't want to put it at an intersection, they'll be able to turn in the intersections.
I wasn't aware we needed pedestrian crossing on Southfield.
There's no
Avenue.
crossing except Lincoln and 11 Mile, it's a full half mile. So I'm trying to get something mid-blockish there.
And then the other thing is that Councilmember Miller asked for some credit card backup in that, so I did provide the credit card backup from the May and June statements, so.
Thank you. I have several questions.
Okay.
I couldn't find it. Do you have a credit card policy for the city? I
Yes,
couldn't
we
find
do.
anything on the website.
We do have a credit card policy. Everybody has to sign the credit card policy for gas cards, credit cards, anything. They can't, the gas cards, they cannot purchase anything but fuel for the vehicles.
Okay.
And then the other credit card, they can't purchase alcohol. There's a whole thing, and there could be, if it's misused, there could be immediate termination. The credit card policy, I think, was done in 2014. I had put it together, and it's been that one since then. I think it was 2014 or 2019, something like that.
Okay, can you send it to me, please? I couldn't, it's not on the website. I couldn't find anything on the
Well, it wouldn't be
website.
on the website, so.
And I didn't see it in policies or anything, so.
I will send you the credit card policy.
What's that?
I said I will send you the credit card policy.
Thank you. And then, why don't we pay off the balances? month to month?
It depends on when the credit card statement comes in, and if somebody's on vacation or something like that, I try to make copies of it. I try to get it right the day it comes in. I try to get it to everybody to get their credit card stuff back. The problem is that the credit card always seems to come in after our check runs. We only do 2 check runs a month. We do them on the 15th and the last day of the month, and they always seem to come in just after that. So sometimes if I know we're gonna have to do a special check run for something, I will try to get the credit card in there.
Okay. Would it help to request a different billing date, or it just
That's the
would make
date
any
they have given
difference?
us, and I don't know if they would do a different billing date or not.
A lot of cards
Yeah,
do
credit
do
cards
that.
will.
They let you set when you would like it, so I don't know if it's an option. It might not make a difference if you're waiting for stuff anyway, so.
Well, you have, whoever has a credit card, we're waiting on them to gather all their information to give it to accounts payable, so.
Right. There are like 130,000 reward points. What happens to the reward points?
Haven't done anything with them. They are reward points that are out there that can be used for, there's different things that you can use them for, like if the city needed a coffee pot, we could buy a coffee, we could use it for a coffee pot, if that's in the thing. You can get gift cards with it, you can do different things with it. I have never used them.
Can you do a bill credit or payment on the bill?
No, it's not.
For sure?
Yep.
Okay, because I can do that on several of
Yeah,
mine. It
no,
will
this
just
one,
roll over.
this one doesn't.
Okay, well, maybe we should find something that we want to do with 130,000 points. Like, it looks like they expire, some expire every month, so I'll check into that if you would like. See if there's anything.
I'll check into Flagstar about it. I mean, it's not a problem.
Okay. Is there a form? I don't see a uniform form that a staff member would have to fill out with a credit card charge.
There is a form, if you, right here's the form. It has, this one here has my name on it. It says City of Lathrup Village Credit Card Purchase Form. It has my name on it. It has the purchase from. This was Test Equipment Depot. The reason for the purchase was from the DPW magnetic locator for Miss Diggs, because their locator went out and they found one online, so they asked me if I would purchase it for them. So I did get it at our tax exempt rate and that. Then we have the account number, what account we put it to, and then the amount.
And this is what a staff member fills this out
We
for
fill
you?
this out, yep. So when I get a credit card, when I get my credit card, I fill this out, I put the amount on it. This is what goes to accounts payable with the backup behind it. Here's the backup for the Test Depot equipment. I have the backup behind it. There might be some like Adobe. I have, Kelda didn't have a credit card when she first started, so her Adobe is on my credit card, which she'll probably have to change by December, but her Adobe's on there. Sue's Adobe was on there, and so was my Adobe. We have to pay those monthly. We do not get backup for those. But that software we have to have. That's also software that is going to be on this new GASB thing, because the new GASB rule is any software that we use we have to have, if we pay it monthly or yearly, we have to put it on it's a new law that we have to give it to the auditors, and we have to record it.
Oh, okay.
So that's something new, and that's what we're working on right now to get that information all together.
And is that a subscription through Adobe, or is there a way to pay that? Because it looks like
Well, it is a monthly,
comes out
it's
of
a monthly
multiple.
subscription.
And is it per person?
Yes. There is not what it is it's for for people that need to change out like from Word to, or PDF back to Word, things like that. That's what the Adobe is used for.
Okay, okay.
And then you might see also some people have asked me, instead of writing a sheet, they asked me if they could do it on a spreadsheet. And I told them as long as it had their name on it, what the purchase was for, the reason, or where the purchase was from, what their purchase was, the account number and the amount, I said they could do a spreadsheet and have them all on there, and then just staple all the backup behind that. So that is there too.
Okay.
And that was based on the auditor's suggestion that we do fill out a piece of paper that has what the purchases are and what they're for.
I don't see a date on there, though. That might be helpful to add a date.
Well, it would go with the credit card, that's, I mean, we could write dates on it, but it goes with the credit card statement and that's all stapled together.
Okay, but you don't know when that charge actually occurred unless you
Well,
look
it's
at
gonna be, the credit card statement is with it. When I put it, and all of us, when we put it, the credit card statement is with it. So this credit card statement that I have right here went from 327 to 410.
Okay. I do bookkeeping, I have my own business, I've done a lot of work in this, and, a date of when the transaction happens sometimes
You can add
is
a date on there,
important.
that's
I mean,
not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
But it's a standard form that's why, but
Yeah.
we can change the date and add a date.
Okay. Page 75. You may want to cancel this since all of that information is on that form. There's an account, credit card number, expiration date, ID number.
You want to redact it on page 75?
We can do that.
Thank you.
Redact what?
What you just asked for.
The
Your credit card
authorization
number.
of for
Yeah,
the use. Yes.
on the online Unicode
Yes.
one too.
Yeah.
Kelly, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, pages 93 to 108, there are multiple Colorado background checks for,
That was, we had a group coming around for
Solicitors.
solicitors, and the police department does the or they do the background checks for people. These people were out of Colorado, they were out of wherever, and so they had to get the information from those places. They do use my credit card for that because that is on the city side, so, and we are charged for that because it's the solicitors, so,
do the solicitors reimburse the city for that?
Yes.
yes.
Yes? Okay. Thank you. Page 133, when I had asked who had credit cards, it said that Brittany has a credit card. I'm wondering why the DDA would have 2 credit cards. The credit limit is $3,000, and in less than a month, the balance is $2,947. Are there any kind of things in place, like that's,
Well, 1,600 of it was from English Gardens for flowers, so that was a big purchase there. Susie Stack, the DDA Director, Economic Development, asked me asked Sue Montenegro if Brittany could get a credit card, because Brittany was using her credit card, and Sue okayed it. I ordered the credit card for her, so.
and this is covered in the credit card policy, who is able to have a credit card? I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
As long as we're watching the amounts that they have limits. I mean, if you notice, some people have different limits. Most
No,
of the-
I did notice that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
so, I mean, it's not in the credit card policy who can have a credit card. I mean, anybody,
I
if,
think maybe it should be. Well, whatever, when I see the credit card policy, we'll check. Just know what we used to do in the school district. Car washes, it looks like we spend a lot on car washes. Is
that's the
that
police
something?
vehicles.
Mhm.
Police vehicles get car washes, yes. And we took the van to have a car wash before it went to the garden tour. And the escape sometimes gets car washes, so, but most of them are the police department.
Okay. Going through these, I was trying to match up the things with the statements, and some of them don't match, or they're not all here, or, do you pay some things?
If somebody's giving me their information, they give it all to me at one time. I did have my deputy treasurer copy these for me so that we could get them into the system. And so, I mean, everything should be there, but if something
Right.
might have not
Okay.
got copied, I'm not,
Okay.
I went through it and kind of looked at everything, tried to match things up and that for it before I gave it to you,
Okay.
so.
Okay, and then, last thing, there were a couple of MML hotel rooms, but I didn't see any conference registration fees for Kelly and Jalen, just hotel rooms. It was Bruce had both, or, Bruce had a,
It might have been on a different credit card, I'm not sure. That Sue would have made those reservations, so I'm not sure.
Or the
how-
MML might bill us directly, and it might not go on credit card.
That too.
it would be what?
The MML probably bills us
sometimes will bill
directly.
us directly, and it will go through a check run and not through
Oh.
the credit card.
Oh, okay.
If like Bruce might have signed up later than Kelly and Jalen, and if he did, then it probably was put on the credit card because we had to pay it for
Okay.
a year.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
pulling this together.
And then I just have a couple of more things after that was done. Councilmember Knez asked me about the TOS program. There was a email sent to the people for the TOS program, and the response I got back is, I'll have to work on getting the data to you. We don't have a system that automatically gives us this information. We'll go through our customer information and determine which riders are from Lathrup Village. So we use our logo on advertising for the TOS program. So that's what I got back from them, so it's gonna be a keep, wait, and see until they can go through their information and get that for me. The other thing I got was.
One thing, that was one of the requirements when we approved giving that money. That was one of the things that was supposed to happen, so.
And I know
we'll have to check
I
with-
know there's been a couple of emails that have been sent to them, so we'll keep on that.
Okay.
To try to get that information from them. The other thing is, Bruce asked me about the 12-mile meter. He already got his information on that from Scott. The 11-mile, I'm not done with yet. I haven't gotten a hold of OHM yet. I think that's
Let me
it.
ask one question then.
Okay.
I know you said you met today about the Sarackwood,
Yes.
the 12 and Southfield meter. And I know we had asked this a while back, but do we know who's gonna pay for it, given the fact that they cut the power to the arm and? Or
We
the-
did talk about that. Sarackwood has to look through the contract.
Okay.
And, yeah, they have to run new power, get a new meter, potentially a pressure reducing valve in there.
Right.
But yeah, he was supposed to look into that and get back with us.
Okay, thanks.
Did they cut it, or was it done with the construction over there?
It was
Done by the county.
cut by the road commission when they put up the mast arms,
Right,
because it ran power, the mast arm, the power went to power the signals and also to the meter and also to the city's welcome sign. And them got cut and never got replaced.
so they should pay for it.
Yeah, probably good luck with
It should be
that.
pursued, okay, well. Any idea what the pricing is gonna be on it?
On what part? I'm sorry.
On getting that up and running again, do they have any idea how much it will be?
Well, they already have the meter.
Oh, okay,
The power line itself, just to directionally bore it, was, what'd they say, 6,000? They got a, this is 2018, they got a quote, 6 grand or 23,000.
There was a couple of different codes on that.
There's a little more work to that, yeah.
And he's going back and he will keep us informed and send us emails and things like that.
They need to do an assessment of the existing vault, because there's some pumps in there and there's piping, and
right.
it hasn't been functioning for a while.
And then the only other thing is that you asked me about the technology. The gateways are due to be shipped in December. The MRX is due to be shipped at the end of August. And then he had said that Sue was looking at the gateway locations, and she was supposed to get a hold of the cell towers and find out if, and then also propose a third site. So I don't know if she's done that, so I'm gonna have to get a hold of cell towers and that, so that'll probably be
Yeah,
next week.
I know the
or so.
cell tower contracts allow us to put city-related antennas on there, so that shouldn't be an issue, but, yeah, it's.
But we
we're
wanna
for
make
the
sure
third
they
one.
know that
Yeah.
too, so. But those were the questions that you had, and I think that's all I have.
Thank you very
I
much.
think I answered everybody's questions.
Did you say end of December?
Is there, well, the one is due to ship in December.
Oh, so it'll
The
be next
gateways
year.
are due to ship in December, and then the MRX is in August. So we'll
Okay.
have one part of it, but we won't have the other.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We're coming to public comment. If there's anything that anyone would like to comment on, you can come to the microphone, and you have 3 minutes to comment.
Good evening, Mayor Garrett, City Council, and board members. My name's Roger Lynn, a longtime resident of Lathrup Village. This morning I was walking over to the community garden and I happened to notice Annie Lathrup school system over there that they cleaned up the grounds around there. I commend whoever did that, but the thing that it does now show is boarded windows, blinds inside. It looks like it's been through a war like in Ukraine. Hopefully, our city code enforcement that is used for residents is also used for the owner of that building. The boards that are up there, take the boards down and put the plexiglass like they did sort of like at the Central Station down in Detroit, They just put something up there for the time being, but that is in our village center, and it is such an eyesore and an embarrassment. I would have preferred to kept the buckthorn growing there to hide it. Thank you.
Pam, you were going to say something?
Yes, actually, they were hit by the storm pretty bad over there, so that's why a lot of the trees are down now and that. I saw the trucks over there. And but yes, our code enforcement also does Southfield Road code enforcement, so I will make sure that he goes over there or gets a hold of them and sends them a letter to have that done.
I mean, there's numerous boards over there.
Okay.
Open windows. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Yeah.
I'm Perry McNeil. I live on San Diego, and I just wanted to say I'm pleased to see the water main going in. There are a couple things. We've had, in the last decade or so, we've had maybe 4 breaks in the water main that had to be repaired. And a few years ago, a house caught on fire across the street, and the fire hydrant didn't work. And so they had to run around the block to get water. Well, this water main is going in. It was badly needed. But also they've done it in a way that doesn't seem to damage the trees. They've done it in a way that is just takes out part of the road. And I'm really pleased to see that. It seems to be going quite smoothly. One thing I noted, the excavator. I talked to the excavator today because they're working in the house next door. He said they have trouble excavating to the pipe because the soils are compacted, and this. Raise a red flag for me just because I'm interested in soil compaction in the urban environment. And deep-rooted plants tend to decompact the soil. And this is an important part of our, what's it called, the best management practices aspect of the sewers. That, if we can decompact the soils, we can get more storm water absorbed into the soils. And it occurred to me, you were discussing the puddling, that this could be compaction also, that we don't know exactly why the puddle is there, I think, but if the soil compacts, this creates that kind of a puddling condition. So I don't know if people are thinking about soil compaction, but it seems sort of like a off-the-wall thing, but actually when you think of the whole city and the compaction of the soils, it's actually kind of a major issue, at least in my mind. So that's all I wanted to say, and I appreciate the water main coming through.
Thank you. For anyone else? No one?
My name is Lori Coons, a longtime 34-year resident of Lathrup, and I can attest to attending these meetings for almost 2 years, and would like to say that a lot of things go on that people aren't aware of because they're not present. And the animosity and hate for Karen has just ratcheted up inappropriately. And in her defense, as she tried to stand up for water mains and for Bruce attacking her for her statements, calling them inflammatory, she has researched this. And the facts do state that a certain amount of miles of water main were to be replaced by Giffords-Webster. The millage was approved for roads, but you chose your own committee, made your own decisions, and got the roads you wanted paved. And last council meeting in the parking lot, you actually said F you to Karen. And that is way out of line and very inappropriate. And I would like all this to stop. And she's asking questions that need to be answered, and that's why you don't like her. And if you, and also for the residents, those hawk signals that are proposed, we didn't get a say or a vote. I don't know why we need to cross the street in the middle of Southfield. I don't believe Beverly Hills or Birmingham has a hawk signal just for crossing. And if we wanted to save money, the $46,000 that it would cost to maintain those signals every year would be quite a savings, and I just don't think we need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Anyone? Mayor and council comments? I don't have any comments this evening. Council? Anyone?
I want to thank you, Perry, for bringing that to our attention, and that's why we need residents involved in all of these kinds of things that we do. No one up here, I'm sure, knows about that. I'm sure, you know, but our residents bring so much knowledge and so many experiences that we could benefit from in so many areas, and so that's why, you know, I just think it's so important to involve as many residents as we can in our decision-making. And again, I appreciate that. That isn't, I would never have even, I don't know, didn't even know about it. But it makes total sense because, it's, you know, we've been here for a long time. And so if it's, you know, compacted and there's nowhere for it to go, you know, that could be an easier fix than, you know, some of the other things that we're doing. And, you know, bring back rain gardens and all those kinds of things, more green space. We buy, you know, talk about buying the Goldengate Park. All of those things help with that kind of stuff when we're, you know, in an older or aging community. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yep, a few things. Just want to remind everybody about the patronicity fundraising for the municipal park. So we're looking to do a $500,000 to $600,000 improvement via a grant, but we have to match a certain amount, and so there's a $20,000
Correct.
fundraising effort. So if you're interested in donating, first thanks to all the people who have donated so far, and if you're interested in donating, you know, you can go to the city website and learn how. Few follow-up things. Chuck Batchelor's issue, do we know if that's been addressed? He had the issue with over by Sunnybrook and Discount Tire with the dumpster and the window, broken window?
Is it the drive approach?
No,
No,
it was a
Oh, okay, I'm
dumpster
sorry.
issue.
Drive approach got widened today.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was one too, the drive approach.
No, this is with the building.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that. I'll
right.
ask
Yeah.
Susie with,
Rob
because,
or-
or Rob,
Yeah.
Rob or Susie.
Okay. And then just the other thing, I know, you know, you've got a gazillion things on your plate, and I know the audit's coming, but just to keep these things alive, if you should have extra time or think of ways to, you know, push some stuff off to some of the other staff. You know, we've got the back billing that we're still trying to get out, and then I know back in October, council approved the marketing for the service line material identification, and I know Sue put together a plan, but it was never implemented. So if there's any steps that we can take towards that, that would be fine. To address Ms. Kuntz's comment, I'm sorry you don't understand the process, but you commented that I chose my own committee. City Council chose the committee, not me. From it's not a discussion. From the residents that applied, 4 of the 5 residents that applied for that committee were put on the committee. The 5th one was put on a different committee because they requested 2 committees. Make my own decisions, did not make a single decision. The decisions were made by 2 different, well, actually, the recommendation was made by a group, a study group, and all decisions were made by council. They weren't made by an individual. We act as a body, not as individuals. And then I do want to set the record straight from something that was said at the last meeting. So at the July 17th meeting, a resident during public comment asked a question of council, specifically Ms. Miller, but of council as well, requesting that we all give examples of projects that I think it was led and initiated, that provided significant value to the residents. Ms. Miller responded, and this is a quote, saying that she forced the city to address the $2 million water loss, which was not being addressed, and they finally found the source of it, and we are not losing water like that anymore. So I did that, and that's a pretty big thing. After that comment, for the first time in 6 years on council, I was speechless because there was way too much to unpack in that statement. So let's be crystal clear. Ms. Miller had absolutely nothing to do with the solution of the water loss problem. She didn't attend a single meeting. She didn't do any research. She provided no suggestions or solutions. Her only constructive comment was to look at large water clients like Michigan First and
Where the water loss was the high school.
I'm talking, thank you. I didn't interrupt you. And the public school system, both of which were obvious and things that the city was already looking at. What she did do was constantly complain and blame everyone else for not solving the problem while not making an effort herself to solve the problem. She said she forced the city to do things. She didn't force the city administration to do anything, as the city had been consistently working on the issue since it was first discovered by methodically eliminating potential causes one by one. But what she doesn't understand is that even in a small city like Lathrup, like the city engineer was saying at the beginning of his discussion, the water system is huge. It's enormous. And it's all underground. There are 33 miles of water main, 245 fire hydrants, 303 gate valves, 1,800 meters, 1,800 service lines, cross connects, and the list goes on. And it takes an inordinate amount of time and effort to inspect all of those underground components and to do things like seismic testing and all the other things that the city did to look for the solution to the problem. And in fact, we probably would still be searching for the problem today. For those of you that don't know, that problem has been solved, but we'd probably still be looking or searching for the problem if somebody who was walking by a pit was astute enough to notice an abnormality and reported it. So for those that don't know what the issue was, there was a 6-foot pit with a 2-inch broken water main in it. And that water main, water pipe that was broken, and that was gushing water out. But that pit, which was covered by a manhole, has a drain at the bottom. So the water was coming out and draining out. So when we're losing 250,000, I think it was 250,000 gallons a day, Bo? Yeah, that we talked about in several of our meetings, what you're looking for is some type of manifestation of that water. So, you look for ponding and so forth, but we didn't see that anywhere because this water was essentially going right out to sea. And so it was never noticed. And as far as the inspections going, that pit was somehow never on our list of assets. So the city didn't even know that pit existed or was there. So for Ms. Miller to credit herself with forcing the solution is completely inaccurate and totally irresponsible.
No one was dealing with it. We had $1.778 million from starting in 2016-17. So, and looking at Southfield Lathrop, you looked at their water usage prior, what was going through a meter, and then all of a sudden it was nothing. Or dropped off drastically. That was an indicator that there was a problem there. And I found that just by looking at BSA online. So it wasn't a priority. I will stand by that. It was not a priority.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing, oh, go ahead.
No, I do. I thought we were having a meeting at 5:30. I came early regarding
There
the
was
issue there.
no one responded, so I didn't come.
You didn't come?
No one responded to it, to say
What
they were
issue?
coming.
Well, I did bring paperwork on it. I think we all need to be involved in this. There were a couple issues brought to my attention over the weekend, or last week, where the group of young men that have been helping with projects in the city they weren't properly equipped to do some of the jobs they were doing. They were standing on arms of chairs, using tools above their head to trim trees, inappropriate tools, no glasses or any appropriate attire to do the kind of work they were expected to do or asked to do.
We got an email today from the president and chair of the organization, and they're having a discussion with Susie Steck. I don't know, Pam, if you're in there or not.
No, I don't think I was.
But they will be having a discussion, and they have suspended them using any tools that go over their head.
What about, anyway, I did print what I'm talking about. I do want everybody to see the conversation and what's going on, because I think it's very important. If these young men are on our watch, that they are being properly equipped, properly supervised, doing what we are told they're supposed to do.
So why is my house on here? Why is
well,
my house on here?
Well, this is because Susie, the very next day, Susie responded to an email saying that these young men are here to help the seniors in the neighborhood. And frankly, there's 3 people on this council that are older than you that would qualify as seniors.
Then you should have had them at their house. And how old am I?
I know you're younger than me. I know you
I
don't
will
qual-
surprise you if you figure out how old I am.
Is it anyway, I just thought it was interesting that
I cannot,
received
you know what, this is absolutely, between hiding in the bushes, between all of the things that we have done, but this is absolutely, and I hope
Who's
you all.
hiding in the bushes?
I'm saying the other things, but the fact that someone with the long telescopic, what is it called, camera, is taking pictures of my backyard, my private property. My private property. You know what? I would just, somebody take a motion to adjourn.
I think they're taking
Take a
pictures
motion
of
for
the young men
adjournment.
in your yard.
Motion to adjourn.
Of this-
Second? Is there a second?